This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Arrowgate, what a commanding performance. He won the Travers by 12 in a final time of 1 minute 59.36 seconds. The fastest Travers ever and a new track record.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Friday morning from Saratoga, live from Saratoga in front of Clare Court. The horse has been working out all morning long and obviously enjoying the really nice weather, sunny, comfortable temperatures. If you're debating moving up to the track today and enjoying an afternoon, you want to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, there's an event a little bit later on we'll tout you on that's worth coming up for as well. We'll do that with Brian Boyer from the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. A little bit later, Stu DeVoe from the Diamond Club Grill, one of our sponsors. Happy to have Stu come in just to tout you on a place to stop maybe after the races or for lunch before the races. The Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites in Saratoga. But Stu's a big racing fan as well, so I said, hey, take a look at some of the stakes action. So we'll get some opinions from him. I know he's a handicapper that does a pretty good job, so we'll pick his brain a little bit. And then at the end of the show, Ramon Dominguez steps in. Should be a lot of fun to talk to Ramon about the PDJF weekend coming up. A lot of nice events here at the racetrack on Saturday. Karaoke across the street at the harness track on Monday night. That's always a lot of fun. So Ramon will wind up our guest for this morning. Should be a fun show here on this Friday morning. Before we go to a break, though, do want to tout you on some of the promos and events here at Capital OTB because, of course, there's a big one on Friday. The bounty bet is back. It's the late pick 4 at Saratoga, $1,237. If you are the lone person to hit the pick 4, and that's only amongst Capital OTB customers, but if you're the lone person, you pull down that $1,237. If multiple players get it, they share in a consolation, and the bounty goes on and adds to next week. But nothing special to do. Just wager on your Capital OTB account on the late pick 4 on Saratoga, and you are in. It's always a lot of fun. Also, coming up this weekend at the Clubhouse Racebook, $100 Trifecta Challenge on Saturday. That's at the Clubhouse Racebook. Again, Saturday, Sunday, it's the NYRA Pick 4 Sunday at the Clubhouse Racebook. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. You can keep up with the promos and events at Capital OTB by swinging by the website, capitalotb.com. All right, we'll head to a break. When we come back, we'll swing into Racing Across America for this Friday morning. We'll talk a little racing museum, get you updated on the events you can expect right across the street from the track. Can't be easier to find. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Whether you're winding down from a day at the track or gearing up for the night, celebrate summer with live music, fabulous food, and the best happy hour in Saratoga. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit capitalotb.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Don't miss the 2017 Thoroughfan Annual Awards Brunch with special guest speaker Donna Barton Brothers. This annual event is Saturday, August 12th at the Embassy Suites in Saratoga Springs, New York. Go to thoroughfan.com for tickets and information.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Relax with a signature cocktail or one of our world-class wine selections while enjoying indoor or outdoor dining for lunch and dinner. The Diamond Club at the Embassy Suites, winner of the 2016 and 2017 Wine Spectator Award of Excellence.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
To Racing Across America, always happy to be joined by our friend Brian Bouillet, the Director of Communications over at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. Good morning, Brian.
Thanks for having me, Seth.
Happy to have you, because obviously tried to get in last week before the meet opened to line up the schedule for the Racing Museum and Hall of Fame, but you were busy, understandably, with the Hall of Fame inductions coming up, and a lot that we'll go through coming up over the next month. You know, the season, the racing season up here. For folks who aren't familiar, if you come up to the racetrack, it's right across Union Avenue, so make it over there. It's highly recommended. What are the hours during the racing season?
We're 9 to 5 every day of the meet, so you're not going to miss it if you come any day, even a dark day, 9 to 5 every day throughout the meet.
And certainly a good-looking Hall of Fame class. We'll talk about that in a moment. I wanted to also talk a little bit about alert people. I didn't realize this, because for the show I was kind of pulling up some pictures that the guys could show the front of the museum and whatnot last night, and as I was looking through pictures, there was a wedding in the actual Hall of Fame room, and if folks want to, I think you should alert them, because I thought, man, what a great place for an event. But for special events, you rent the place out.
Yeah, we have weddings there. You know, if you need to have a meeting or something like that, we've done a lot of facility rentals over the last few years. Our operations manager, Jennifer Rickman, has done just a tremendous job making the venue available to people. You can even get Tom Durkin to officiate your wedding if you want. So he'll do these great calls, and here comes the bride. It's tremendous. So we've got a lot of opportunities if you want to have a special event at the museum.
Yeah, I was, as I said, I was amazed to see that. I thought, what a great place for an event. We just saw the front of the building, and I'll say I pulled up what must be an older picture. And don't tell me I'm out of the loop that far. I'm guessing the jockeys are fairly new, the lawn jockeys out front, which is a really nice display. As I say, I first noticed it a couple of weeks ago.
Well, that's as long as they've been here. Okay. They were new for this summer. We sent out letters to a lot of the prominent owners in the sport and asked them if they were interested in sponsoring a jockey in front of the museum, and we got tremendous response. We've got 37 of them. We filled all the available spots, and it just looks great out there. I mean, I think the best thing about racing is the pageantry and the colors, and to have that along Union Avenue is just, I think it looks beautiful, and everybody's been commenting on it, and they really seem to like it.
Yeah, it certainly is. And again, right across the street from the racetrack, if you come up here, you can't miss it. The Racing Museum and Hall of Fame, highly recommended. And let's go through some of the events. And first, I want to tout, and I kind of alluded to it as we led into you. Tonight, you have a special event that's a lot of fun. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with our friend Teresa Gennaro as we went through the weekly calendar. And her team, I think, finished second last year. She was Barbara Livingston and a couple other people maybe, but trivia night's coming up.
A lot of fun. We did this for the first time last year, and I saw Teresa in the paddock yesterday, and she wants that title. She wants those bragging rights. So a lot of fun. You can bring your group, 2 to 5 people this evening. If you're a museum member, it's free. It's $10 if you're not, but you get a couple of drink tickets. We got some food coming in from the West Side Stadium. Just a fun night, you know. I mean, we got 3 different categories, some nice prizes. The grand prize is the team that wins the overall title. You get the museum box here for a day at the track. So you get a little bit of wine and stuff. So we got some nice packages. So if you think you know your racing stuff, come on by this evening.
And it's tonight, Friday night. Tonight you can swing over, watch a lot of racing, and then swing over. What time's it kick off?
We open the doors. I mean, you can come over at about 6 o'clock. The trivia will start at 6:30 in the last couple hours. So yeah.
All right. And again, Teresa and the team, they're gunning for it after a second place finish last year. So you know who you're shooting for. But it should be a lot of fun. Also want to mention there's a nice photo collection that recently went up. Tony Leonard, his collection, Racing's Greatest and America's Oldest.
This is terrific stuff. Tony Leonard is one of the most prominent photographers of the 20th century. His collection, I think, included over 500,000 images that was purchased. Obviously, we're going to have a small sampling of that, but we've got about 50 images. We did scenes that were from Saratoga or related to Hall of Fame members, and a lot of different stuff too. I mean, everybody sees photos of Secretariat and Seattle Saloon. We have those as part of this, but La Previante, Chris Everett, a couple of the different sort of horses, some great portraits of some of the jockeys. Jacinto Vasquez, Angel Cordero, Chris McCarron, guys like that. It's a terrific exhibit in the museum to check out.
Yeah, and remember when Tony Leonard passed, there was a conversation about the great work he'd done in the collection, and a group of guys got together and made sure to preserve it, and it's nice that that's now being displayed to the public.
They've done great work with the people who owned it. They had it down in Kentucky first before it came here at the Headley Whitney Museum, and we're honored to have it. It's great stuff.
How long's that exhibit going to be up?
Up through the year.
Nice,
to the end of the year. Yep.
So plenty of time to go over to the museum. Also want to mention, it's not just the adults, the kids, and I was looking Mondays throughout the meet. You have some nice kids programs coming up. Make Your Own Racehorse Flip Book comes up this Monday. A few weeks down, there's a horse-themed bingo trivia game for the kids. The Mondays, it's the whole family.
Yeah, I mean, just give parents an opportunity, and they come in and they can do some of these projects with the kids, and our education department came up with some really neat ideas. So every Monday we've got something, kind of an opportunity for families to come in and learn a little bit about the basics of racing, what jockeys do and some of these other things, but they're fun little things, and we've had great response to them so far.
And you can find the whole schedule on the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame website. Type that into Google, you come up to the website. And it's a great website also. People can see who's in the Hall of Fame. You have news and the events calendar and whatnot as well.
Yeah, detailed biographies of every Hall of Fame member. If you want to look up, what year they got in, their career accomplishments, we've got a lot of great stuff on the site.
Yeah, so the website, highly recommended. This is fun. This was fairly new. Just in June, this came up, the Interactive Racehorse Simulator, which is the kind of thing that the jockeys will use. They're in jockeys' rooms around the country, but you've got one now, and I guess for folks who want to come in and maybe get a simulation of what it's like to ride a racehorse, the museum visitors can do that.
Yeah, we had one before, but this is a super duper version, as I'd like to say. Charlotte Weber did a great job underwriting this for us, and we had a media event to kind of kick it off, and we were gracious enough to get Robbie Davis to come in and try it. Robbie, a guy who won 3,300 races, if he says this is the closest you can get to riding a racehorse without actually being on one, you got something special. So you can ride all sorts of different courses throughout the world. We've got a digital rendering of Saratoga on there, so you'll as you're in it, you see the screen in front of you, and you'll see past the grandstand and everything. It's tremendous, and a lot of different ways you can do it, different distances, different levels of difficulty. So a lot of fun to try that out.
Do you win every race?
If you're doing good, it does have liability. I mean,
nice.
How well you balance yourself, how well you pace your horse's energy. It's a very good simulation of the actual thing.
All right, I'm coming over and trying it.
We're going to get you on there.
I'm going to stick on until I win a race. That could be a long time. We'll see how that works out. I do want to mention also, courtesy of Embrace the Race, free Fridays over at the museum.
Yeah, something we've partnered with Mike Dianzaris and Embrace the Race on. They've been big supporters of the museum for a long time, and we wanted to give the opportunity of people, 2 o'clock to close. It was kind of a time of the day where people may not want to check it out, but if they want to just come in for a little bit or see a specific exhibit, free admission. How can you beat that? So we want to thank Mike and Embrace the Race for sponsoring that for us.
And again, if you're coming up, make a point, particularly if you haven't been to the museum yet, but even if you have, you want that to be part of your day. If you're getting a day at Saratoga, come earlier, 9 to 5, swing over and spend a couple hours before you come to the track.
Yeah, and that's usually the busiest time for people is, they come in the morning and then maybe they'll get a bite to eat, then head to the track. But we've got so many good things going on, and the Man of War exhibit is something we're really excited about. Man of War at 100 is 100th anniversary of his birth, and obviously his connections at Saratoga. Got so many great things in this exhibit, from artwork to trophies to boots and saddles that Johnny Loftus had with a horse, and just some really neat stuff there that you should check out.
Yeah, the museum all along. And last year, I'm an Amsterdam guy. Last year, the Sanford exhibit I think was very popular, and certainly amongst people like me from the area who are into that kind of racing history. You guys did a great job with that. I talked to you before we got on the air, and I said busy. You said very busy, and part of that was the Tom Durkin tours, which have already kicked off.
Yeah, we did these tours with Tom Durkin last year. It was the first year, and most of them were sold out. I mean, that just tells you about his popularity. Tom puts a unique perspective on everything, and he's such a great storyteller. And it's fun to just go through our galleries and look at the artwork and the trophies and the memorabilia. But when you have Tom there telling stories about things, and a lot of them, from his personal perspective, it just adds a lot of flair to it. And Tom does these every day except Tuesdays. There's a couple other days on the schedule that he wasn't available, but check out the website. Most of these are selling out, so they're a lot of fun. And he's very personable, and he'll tell you stories on his own. He hangs out afterwards if you want to get an autograph with him, or tell him about your recollections of the track. He's just terrific, and we're thrilled to have him doing these again.
Yeah, highly recommended. We've had Tom on many times, and a lot of great stories, and I can only imagine what the tours are like, so swing by for that. All right, let's talk about the highlight of your season. That will be coming up next Friday, the inductions to the National Museum of Racing's Hall of Fame. The pillars this year: John Gaines, Denny Phipps, and Matt Wynn. The inductees themselves: Javier Castellano, Victor Espinosa, Garrett Gomez. Tom Voss gets inducted, and Goldakova and Goodnight Shirt among the horses. Again, next Friday at 10:30. And as usual, it's over in the Fasig-Tipton Pavilion?
Correct. Fasig-Tipton, 10:30. It's free admission. There's no tickets required or anything like that. It is limited seating because we have to reserve a lot for the inductees and their families, it being somewhat of a small venue. But the doors will open at 9 o'clock, so if you want to get a seat, you're welcome to do it. We're streaming it on our website as well, racingmuseum.org. But it's a great class. We're really excited about this group coming in this year.
Yeah, I mean, Castellano, Victor Espinosa, Garrett Gomez. I'm a voter, and it just looked like there were three there that were kind of a lock and easy check marks. It's always tough voting because all of the finalists are certainly worthy, and some of you think, oh, well, next year, but this year I got to go in this direction. But yeah, you look at the three jockeys, certainly, and then guys like Tom Voss and a horse like Goldakova. I mean, it's a knockout of the park this year.
A lot of people talk about Goldakova. Well, she was foreign based and everything, but 3 Breeders' Cup wins, 2 Eclipse Awards. She had such a huge impact here. It was a no-brainer.
And that's what tilted it for me. As a voter, I'm all for it. And when it comes to the Eclipse Awards, I'd like to see more than one start in this country. But when you string 3 of them together, it's like...
How do you argue with that? Yeah, she's a tremendous horse.
And on the human side, it's always fun to see... guys like Espinosa and Castellano get in. Garrett Gomez unfortunately passed away. You said beforehand what his dad and his daughter will be in to give the speech.
Yeah, his father Louis, who was a jockey in the Southwest, trained him to ride, helped him out early on in his career. His father will be here. His daughter Amanda, who's by all accounts a real emerging equestrian herself. Is really taken to the sport. There's some talk that she might be an Olympic level athlete. So we're going to have a lot of family members here for the Gomez's. Obviously, for the Phipps family as well. Ogden Phipps II is going to be accepting for his father. Thomas Gaines will be accepting for his father. And we've got Matt Wynn's great-grandson coming from Churchill. So we're excited about the groups and who's going to be here representing them.
Who's emceeing?
Tom Durkin.
He's teeing you up for that. Tom's
been doing this for several years now, and just another great opportunity to have his personality be around the game, and he adds a lot of excitement to the festivities, obviously.
And it's always fun to see, as I say, these guys you're familiar with, like Castellano and Espinosa. You see them in maybe short bursts on TV to get them up there live in what is clearly, a couple of years ago, Johnny Velasquez. Clearly an emotional event. Last year we had Ramon Dominguez. It's always fun to see these guys live in what has to be a real milestone in the career to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and it's great to see. We have so many of the Hall of Famers that come back each year. We usually have between 15 and 20 returning Hall of Famers attend the ceremony. And this year, with Castellano being an active rider and so popular in the prime of his career, he's being presented by 2 other greats. Johnny V and Ramon are going to be there, kind of introducing him this year. So it talks about the brotherhood of this sport, and obviously with those guys right here at Saratoga. Martin Panza is going to present for Victor Espinoza. They go back to their days at Hollywood Park together. So we're really looking forward to this show. We think we got a great show for this year.
And again, it's next Friday over at the Facek Tipton Pavilion. That's right down East Avenue from the racetrack. 10:30. You say the doors open at 9.
9 o'clock. Yep.
And highly recommend it. I try to make it over after I get done with my show and do it. The last couple of years, I've been on the outside looking in because the last couple of years have been popular too. But as I say, it's highly recommended. Part of it because of what you say. At some point, you introduce all the former Hall of Famers in the room, and it's just fun to see those guys.
It's so great, especially the guys who come in from out of town that you might not get to see a lot of. I mean, you're in town, you get to see Wayne Lucas or Billy Mott at the track, but it's so great to see like an Eddie Maple coming in, or we're hoping Randy Romero is going to be here this year. He said he wants to be here, and a lot of guys come up every year. That's just great, and they're so gracious with the fans, and we added up the number of wins and earnings last year, and I mean, we're talking billions of dollars that these guys did on the track, and almost 100,000 wins between them training and riding. So it's a special day to have everybody here.
And talk a little bit about, I'll tip my cap to you and your staff, talk a little bit about what goes into this event every year, because I know this is not something you put together in the last 2 weeks. This is months in the planning, and there's video presentations and whatnot. Talk a little bit about the preparation.
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. It's one of those things that we love being a part of every year. And we got to thank the Keeneland Broadcast Associates with GD Hieronymus. They put together these amazing introductory videos. I mean, the museum inductions have come a long way. They used to be in a tent in our parking lot back in the day, but we've stepped everything up, and we have professional video introductions, about 4 or 5 minutes, showing the highlights of the careers of these guys and some of the early footage and everything that Keeneland's able to dig up for us. It's just incredible. So between that and all the staff work that goes into it and working with all the different induction groups, it takes a lot of time to prepare, but it's such a fun day, and we're happy to do it every year.
Where do the actual plaques get made?
We have a place called Thorographics that's down in Kentucky. They do all the plaques over here for the sales and the signs. A guy named John Cox, he works with a lot of the people in the sport, and he's been doing them since 1983. So he's got a small little shop down in Lexington, and he makes these beautiful plaques every year, and we're going to keep using them as long as he wants to do it. So.
Which subsequently can be found in the actual Hall of Fame in the museum right across the street from the track. Again, highly recommended. Right on Union Avenue, literally right across the street from the track. If you come up, as I say, come a little early someday, spend a couple hours over there. Highly recommended. If you like the history of the game, there is plenty to take in, and the horse race simulator sounds like a lot of fun now too. The Tom Durkin tours. Swing by the website to learn more. Brian, appreciate the visit.
Thanks for having me.
Continued good luck and success over at the Racing Museum. I'm sure you guys are looking forward to Labor Day, but enjoy the month just the way we do over here, because it's a lot of work, but as you say, it's a lot of fun as well.
We love it. It's a great summer, and I don't ever want to see it end, to be honest. I love it. I wish this was all year.
And as I say, if you're coming up, make sure to visit the Racing Museum. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Stuart DeVoe, the Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites. We'll talk a little bit about their venue, and you can come up and enjoy it during the racing meet. They're a sponsor here, but Stu also does some handicapping, so we'll talk some of the stakes action for tomorrow. All of that after this. Don't forget, coming up a little bit later on, Ramon Dominguez. Stay with us.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrow.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots. In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Welcome back. It is a Friday morning live from Saratoga here on Capital OTB TV and Racing Across America. Some of the other programming sponsored by the Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites up here in Saratoga. Brian Edo and myself did a Kentucky Derby seminar earlier this year. Happy to partner with them. And over at the Diamond Club Grill, Stu DeVoe's the man in charge of what, the beverage and food, correctly?
Food and beverage director is my official title
right.
over there.
And I can highly recommend both. And we invited you on to talk a little bit about the Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites, the hotel and the bar and facility itself. Give us a little heads up because, you know, if you're maybe out of town, not too far, but you want to come to Saratoga and enjoy the weekend, or if you have some friends who are coming in, the nice part about it is if you want to play in the daytime at the racetrack and play at night downtown, you can walk to the Embassy Suites. You're right in the thick of everything.
So DCG Development built a great facility there, and 149 rooms at the Embassy Suites. When you stay there, you get a complimentary happy hour, which includes beer, wine, drinks, snacks. It's great. When you wake up after doing whatever you do at night, we give you complimentary breakfast. Nice. That's where the hotel stay. Of course, the breakfast is open to the public for $15, and happy hours there every day, 5:30 to 7:30. Saratoga is not slow the rest of the year. Everybody seems to think that what happens in Saratoga only happens in 6 weeks, and we roll up the carpet and put the sidewalks to bed and all that stuff. Not true at all. Saratoga is a busy, busy place.
As I say, Brian Edo and I did the Kentucky Derby seminar. We've done it for a couple of years, and we do it on it's a Wednesday or a Thursday, so it's not a weekend, and we're there at about happy hour, and both years the bar has been jam-packed.
Yeah, we thought about throwing a Derby party because it's Saratoga, and why wouldn't you? But there are a lot of them. So we did a Derby draw party. I know growing up I always waited for the Kentucky Derby draw to come out. Or why not throw a party on that day?
Yeah, and as I say, there's a big crowd in the bar, and then we move to another room to talk a little bit, and a big crowd there. But again, it's early May, and your happy hour is jam-packed. Just saw the patio, shot of the patio. Talk a little bit about that, because it's fun if you want to sit outside downtown in Saratoga.
So I always say hotel bars, hotel restaurants are great because everybody from around the world comes. The world meets there in Saratoga. The patio is spacious. There's great flowers, fire pits. I have 3 fire pits out there. There's heaters. You watch the world go by, which is one of the great pastimes of Saratoga.
And we should say it's in a great location. If folks are familiar with Congress Park downtown, the street right across from Congress Park, that's where you are, Congress Street, and you're about a block off of Broadway up from Congress Park. So, as I say, you're in the thick of everything. You're in the middle of downtown. If you want to base yourself down at the Embassy Suites, again, come in for the weekend or have friends coming in. You can walk to the various restaurants. You can eat in yours, but if you're here for the weekend and you want a little variety, or the bars, you want to go on Caroline Street, your nice walking distance. So strategically located.
Very well located. Like you said, a block off of Broadway. It's not necessarily staying in the fast lane, but you're certainly right next to it. You can jump in if you want. If not, you can come and relax with us at the Diamond Club Grill. It's a great local spot, which you probably wouldn't think about. One of the best things is parking. I don't know if you ever try to go downtown Saratoga. You need to get lucky. I don't know if it's better to get lucky at the track or better get lucky trying to park.
It's a
maybe
win.
both. But
it's a win either way.
You never know.
Yeah.
Right?
So again, Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites, and again, we appreciate your participation and your sponsorship here on the network as well.
It's always great. Thank you.
And Stu, we've had you in before, and it was a couple of years ago. You were actually hosting a show on the network, and you maybe tossed in some ideas when you did that. But when I got in touch with you yesterday, I said, "Hey, Stu, come on in. We'll talk a little dining and hoteling, and then we'll touch on some of the stakes action too." You said the pressure's on. I said, "No, you can handle it."
No pressure.
And I thought we'd take a look at the stakes action for tomorrow because I'm not doing the handicappers report tomorrow, so it'll give me a little chance to kind of toss out some ideas as well. And you've taken a look at the 4 stakes for tomorrow, so we kick things off in the Amsterdam Grade 2 event, 6.5 furlongs. I couldn't get past. I had Mike Welch on with me yesterday, and he liked Coal Front too. A couple of starts, excuse me, for the Todd Pletcher runner. Now, does get tested in Stakes Company tomorrow, but I just think off the first 2, you have to think this horse is going to fit with this bunch. Mo Cash is a little bit dangerous. Toga Challenger could be a contender as well, but I thought the Pletcher runner was the one you had to get through. You go that way or another direction?
You know, I don't know if we're solving any great mysteries by saying Pletcher with a 3-year-old at Saratoga. He certainly looks all the part that you'd want him to be. I don't know if you get paid if you bet him.
Yeah, that's the problem.
One horse I thought might be interesting was the inside horse, Singing Bullet, with Robbie Alvarado. Dale Romans doesn't tend to bring horses just here for fun.
Yeah.
He had a 2-year-old in the opening weekend that ran real well, and Robbie had a chance, to get on this horse. They seem to partner in in Kentucky, and he looked pretty good in that race. But you're going to get paid if he shows up, and you might be able to use him underneath.
Dale was on last night down at the Parting Glass with Andy Serling on the radio show and mentioned this horse and said Dale was a fan and a friend of Alan Jerkins. He said he'd love to have a runner in the Alan Jerkins, which used to be the King's Bishop. He'd love to have a runner, and he said this may be the one with a good performance tomorrow.
Well, we'll get paid if we're right.
Yeah, absolutely, because the Pletcher horse is going to take the money. All right, let's go a little bit later on the card tomorrow. Also on the stakes calendar on Saturday is the A.G. Vanderbilt Grade 1 event for sprinters going 6. I went 4, 3, 5, and 2. I thought AP Indian in a race where I think you can go a few different directions and have a little bit of confidence. But AP Indian won this race last year, followed that up with a win in the 4-go, 2 for 3 over the track. And again, with that track experience coming off the triple-digit try down at Pimlico last time, I tilt slightly in his favor. But El Deal, I didn't know what to do with the George Navarro horse. Charlestown and Monmouth, what does that mean venue-wise? But a couple of triple-digit performances. Birdsong, Mike Welch like Birdsong tomorrow in the Vanderbilt. So as I say, I went with AP Indian, but I would have no problem with folks going in other directions. What did you see?
I always thought this division was interesting. It seems like as the sprinters get older, they get better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that they're more relaxed or something. I think Limousine Liberal has shown just that this year. Had plenty of talent last year. As a 5-year-old, maybe he's turned the corner. Birdsong I thought was an interesting entry. You would look at the form and say, why are we sprinting? But he does have some back sprint lines and certainly will have some foundation. The number 3 El Deal looks like he'll be dealing on the lead. He looks like he's pretty fast out there, so it'll be an honest pace. I think take your pick.
Yeah,
it looks tough to me.
It's, as I say, a very interesting race where you can make arguments for a few of them. Birdsong is a Mary Lou Whitney horse, so a sentimental favorite up here at Saratoga. And that's the question mark. The horse going, a longer distance, cutting back to the sprint. As you say, you'll go back, and this horse has some decent sprint races. I put the horse in the 3rd spot, but I wasn't quite sure on the cutback. But again, a horse showing a couple of triple-digit buyers in the last 4 starts. I
just wondered if somebody decides to go with El Deal, they might soften them up a little bit, and he might have first run.
And I think that's what Mike Welch was liking when he liked Birdsong yesterday when he was on the show as well. So a fun race there. The Bowling Green on the grass, Grade 2 event, 1 mile and 3/8. Another one that I think is competitive. But my top 3 all attracted my attention. I pretty much could have gone in any direction. I went 7, 4, 1, and 3. I put Ascend on top. I just thought the Manhattan, if this horse can string a couple together and put another one together like that Manhattan, probably the one to beat. Sadler's Joy, I had Tommy Albatrani in yesterday, ran 3rd in the Manhattan behind Ascend. But I think over the past few starts, if you look at the numbers and the performances, this one fits in here. And as I say, I think you could throw a blanket over my top 3 because I put Bigger Picture in the 3rd spot, but I debated about putting that one on top. I wasn't quite sure, and I tepidly went 7-4, 1-3, but I could have flipped things around a little bit. What did you think?
I agree with you with number 7, Ascend. He ran some pretty impressive races up here last year. I can actually say I liked him in the Manhattan and bet him a little bit. He's very, very strong, powerful stretch kick. Seems like the turns here will help him, not hurt him. May have a little bit of a pace advantage. I thought that he was certainly the one to beat. I always wonder about the Redham Racing, Doug O'Neill horses that ship across country. Seems like when they get out of California, they pop up somehow. They don't look like they can or should, but they do. And when they do, you certainly get paid. I guess IRAP would be the first one that comes to mind most recently. So, again, I think Ascend is a pretty good winner for the day.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see, as I say, how this race plays out. And you mentioned, frank conversation in the mix as well. We'll see what happens in the Bowling Green, but I think you can make a pretty strong case for, as I say, my top 3 all look pretty good. And then there's the Redham horse also, as you say, coming across. And I'll see if you like the Redham horse coming across in the Jim Dandy. Field of 5, the Redham horse adds a real question mark, though. I don't know about on the top end, but I wonder if this horse will come in underneath and maybe do a little something. Pavel, I'm talking about. I put it in the 4th spot in a field of 5, so I didn't have a whole lot of confidence. In the Jim Dandy, you have the Derby winner in Always Dreaming. You have the Preakness winner in Cloud Computing. Derby winner Always Dreaming at the top of the stretch completely tossed out the anchor and wound up a well-beaten 8th. Cloud Computing does a ding-dong battle and gets by Classic Empire late. I just think with the time off, I think Always Dreaming is going to bounce back. Maybe take them all the way around on Saturday. I think of a horse like Giuseppe the Great on the stretch out, excuse me, shows a little speed. I think Always Dreaming could sit off and get the first move at the top of the stretch. So again, Todd Pletcher getting the layoff since the Preakness, I think is going to have Always Dreaming back on the top of the game. But again, clearly the one to beat is Cloud Computing. The question mark is the Doug O'Neill Redham horse coming in off the career debut maiden victory. This is a huge step up. But as you say, when they come east, you have to pay attention. I would be shocked if and in the short field, I don't know whether we will get our price on Pavel if you kind of went in the direction of that kind of upset. But it's an intriguing edition of the Jim Dandy. What did you think?
Well, certainly no one's going to blame you for picking Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown here in Saratoga. They certainly dominate. I look at it and I wonder, I see 4 workouts for Always Dreaming. I wonder why. It seemed like in the articles that I read that Pletcher was a little bit defensive in a sense of they're looking to build on that, build on him.
Sure.
And obviously Jim Dandy's a nice race to win, but the Travers is a better race to win. And I think that that's where they're looking. Chad Brown makes a living just improving horses start after start after start. He's my top pick, Cloud Computing. One horse I thought was interesting, and as you can tell, I like to look for little creative things, was Good Samaritan coming off the turf. I actually thought he had a chance to be a Derby horse in the fall. He was entered as a alternate for the juvenile dirt, or the juvenile, and he went to the turf. He ran a bang-up race. He came back on Derby Day and ran great. And maybe he picks him up late. He's by Harlan's Holiday. Looks like he's bred for it. Bill Mott seems to make a living as well, developing young horses. So he's certainly going to be a price.
And I will say it's a 3-year-old division that this year has yet to define itself. And so to have something jump up and surprise, you mentioned IRAP earlier, who I think has kind of put himself in the mix of things. If he could come up with a big grade 1 late in the summer, I think he steps into a discussion for the top of the class, which is hard to believe off an Indiana Derby and Ohio Derby. But I think you tie that in with the Bluegrass as well. He becomes a player just because these 3-year-olds have really yet to define themselves.
They really haven't. I think IRAP's going to have to prove it on the big stage, which would be Saratoga for sure, and the Travers, and hopefully we get a great race, which it looks like it is shaping up to be. These 2 or 3 horses coming out of this race will go. The Haskell winner will go. Hopefully we see IRAP as well. Again, I think going back to the Jim Dandy, Good Samaritan might surprise you.
Yeah,
he might surprise you.
And again, I think it's one of those years where you can take a shot and maybe hope for something to happen, because nobody's really stepped up and put a stranglehold on this 3-year-old division so far. Stu, appreciate the visit, and again, give the address and tout a little bit Diamond Club Grill.
Diamond Club Grill is at 86 Congress Street. It's inside the Embassy Suites. Beautiful property. We do a great job. Cook to order breakfast buffet, great happy hour, great dinner. no matter where your budget is, we have a menu for you. If you want a burger and a beer, it's there. If you want lobster tail and wine, we have that as well.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And what time does the kitchen close?
Kitchen closes 10 o'clock for the restaurant, 11 o'clock for room service.
Okay, very good.
And we're there bright and early.
Stu, again, appreciate your visit this morning, but also your participation and helping us out with some sponsorship here on Capital OTB.
Great, my pleasure. Thank you.
Stu DeVoe from the Diamond Club Grill at the Embassy Suites. Highly recommend it if you go downtown, stop by for a drink, stop by for dinner. Again, if you want to come into town for the weekend, get a hotel room, or if you have friends coming in, Embassy Suites. Again, recommended because they're right in the thick of things downtown. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Ramon Dominguez joins us. We'll talk a little bit about PDJF weekend, his career, and much, much more. Stay tuned.
No matter what you're craving or when you crave it, we've got plenty of options for you. Whether it's a hearty breakfast, light lunch, or relaxing dinner, our full-service restaurant and bar will satisfy your every taste. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Don't miss the 2017 Thorofan Annual Awards Brunch with special guest speaker Donna Barton Brothers. This annual event is Saturday, August 12th at the Embassy Suites in Saratoga Springs, New York. Go to thorofan.com for tickets and information.
With more than 60 Easy Bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all Easy Bet and branch locations, visit capitalotb.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. Bet any place, anytime at capitalotbbet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
With Saratoga's best outdoor patio, a spacious bar, and plenty of off-street parking, it's the perfect place to meet friends and relax after an exciting day at the track. The Diamond Club at Embassy Suites, where the world meets in Saratoga.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Very happy to be joined by our next guest. Three-time Eclipse winner, entered the Hall of Fame last year, Ramon Dominguez. Good morning, Ramon.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board because, boy, folks who follow Saratoga are certainly familiar with you and your great exploits up here, and we'll talk a little bit about the career in a few moments. But before we do that, one of the reasons we plugged you in, PDJF Day comes up tomorrow across the country here at Saratoga. There's the Dunk Tank, our friend Andy Serling at 1 o'clock. It's out by the Dunkin' Donuts booth just below the escalator. So you can go out there, and Andy Serling at 1. Some of the other jockeys will be in during the afternoon. There's a jockey autograph session as well. 11:30 to 12:30 out by the Silks Room. And then Monday night, the karaoke event. We'll tout those a little bit as we go along. But first, just update us a little bit about the PDJF and what it means to the jockeys and what it does for those who, unfortunately need its benefits.
Sure. The PDJF is extremely important for the jockeys, and it's something that is sometimes a progression because we are so busy riding that sometimes we don't really stop to understand the significance of what this represents. And I can tell you firsthand that although I'm not a recipient, I know exactly what these guys go through, and it is a great organization because right now there is no mechanism, a funding mechanism within the industry to support or to provide assistance to these jockeys, and there are roughly 60 of them, and this is something that helps them, whether it is with their medicals and just day-to-day expenses. So Some of these guys, they are roughly 60. Did I say that? Yes. And they got hurt when they were very young, so therefore they didn't really have an opportunity to accumulate much or even to qualify for Social Security.
So again, it's a great racing charity, and it's highly recommended. We did an event a couple of nights before the meet opened down at our facility down in Albany and raised some money. We appreciate everybody who participated there. Dunk tank tomorrow. Also get get in the autograph line and donate that way. But it's also a lot of fun. Monday night at the Saratoga Harness, their Vapors. It's kind of an annual thing. I know you've participated in the past. Talk a little bit about jockey karaoke, and some of the jockeys put a lot into it. It's a team thing, and there's some choreography, and it's always kind of entertaining.
Sure, very entertaining for sure, and it's a great event, something that is gaining momentum, and every year, actually, when you go into town, you interact with fans that say, I can't wait to go to the karaoke. So some of the guys actually do well, and most of us really bad, but that's what makes it fun. So yes, they will be singing, and it's just an awesome time for a great cause. And they, of course, have some memorabilia, or they have some silent auctions for very interesting stuff from racing that goes all to support the PDJF.
More information is available at pdjf.org, and you see some footage here from previous years. It's always a lot of fun, and as you say, normally folks get up and maybe the singing isn't too good, but it's like 2 or 3 guys every year. You're like, wow, they got some pipes.
Yes, definitely, yes. And some of them are just very good and outgoing, like Mike Lossie. I mean, he enjoys it and he does a great job. So, but either way, I mean, people knows, and there are no high expectations from these riders to perform well behind the microphone, but it is a great time.
Have you sung in the past?
In the past, but I tried to block that out of my memory.
But again, it should be a good event. It's always a few laughs, and as I say, there'll be a few of them that impress you. John Velasquez and his wife Leona always put on a pretty good show as a duo, and some of the other jocks come together. Some go out there solo. It's always a lot of fun. That's Monday night across the street at Vapors, Saratoga Harness. But again, pdjf.org. You can get all the information. All right, let's talk a little bit about you, and obviously talking about jockeys and how dangerous it is. You had to retire a few years ago with an injury. Just give us a little update. What are you up to now?
Yes, no, life is good. I'm actually here in Saratoga enjoying. I did it last year with my family, enjoying the beauty of the sport, and in a totally different angle, because when you're performing, when you're really working, it can be tough. It's 6 days of racing, but coming as a fan, I can see how this is racing paradise. So I do enjoy coming to the track and interacting with my friends and fans. And yes, and besides coming to the track, I mean, I am personally working on a business outside racing, which is going well. And yeah.
And I saw it was announced you're an ambassador for Brook USA, involved in kind of horse retirement issues.
Yes, and actually something that I'm very excited and looking forward to also contributing in their cause. And it's a huge organization, non-profit around the world. They teach people how to take care of their horses well, and they of course go and sometimes build barns to be able to assist or to provide this equine, whether it is horses, donkeys, or mules, with great housing. And some of these horses are not really there to just for them to have fun. They are the way they sustain their family. So it's pretty interesting.
And so that's a new venture for you as well. Let's also talk a little bit about last year Hall of Fame. And I understand this year you're going to participate and be one of the 2 introducing Javier Castellano.
Yes, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So last year was just an incredible time for me, leading to the event, and then of course the event itself. And this year I'm very excited to have another Venezuelan being inducted to the Hall of Fame, somebody who absolutely deserves it, and he's like my brother. So we have very much a brother relationship. We used to fight, and we used to, not physically, but nothing but all the respect to Javier, and excited to see him being inducted.
Let's go back to last year when you got in. I know a lot of New York fans certainly were happy to see you get in, deservedly so. How'd you find out you got in?
Actually, Brian from the museum called me one day, and he told me, Ramon, you have boring doctor, and wow, I cried like a baby. My wife actually came because she heard me cry, and she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." She thought something bad had happened, and although I was excited and hopeful that maybe I will get in doctor, still I don't think that you can prepare to it. So it was a great time.
Have you gone over since they posted the plaque and seen the plaque on the wall?
I did once, shortly after the induction. I was with my mom and we went, and
oh, nice.
It was great, not to only see my plaque, but actually seeing all of the plaques and really think about all of the great horsemen and horses that are in there. So it was a wonderful time.
As I say, folks who follow New York racing know you got in, and deservedly so. Again, a 3-time Eclipse winner, heading the money list and the win list a lot of years. And I want to go back. I pulled up some video. I actually shot the video the day you had the 6 wins. I could see something big was coming as I walked out the back. People were lining the jockey path, and so I took my camera, and NBC eventually used it on the Breeders' Cup broadcast that year without giving me credit, but that's all right. But I shot the video, and I want you to respond a little bit to it because Saratoga is so unusual, and here we see it, the fans lining up, and every day I think the jockeys walking back and forth will get some kind of response from the fans. But this was just incredible. I mean, it took you probably about 15 minutes to get out of the clubhouse door and get to the jockey's room with people stopping you, wanting selfies and autographs. It was the big day for you. Talk about this response from the Saratoga fans who were just so savvy and into the game.
Yes, what a privilege, and I enjoyed every second of those 15 minutes that you said because I was extremely happy to win 6 races, especially here in Saratoga, and I wasn't expecting to get this kind of response, which not surprising from New York fans, and here in Saratoga especially. It's such a wonderful track that when people who are not familiar with Saratoga, perhaps follow racing but have never been here, they ask me, so tell me what makes Saratoga special. And there are so many things to really mention, but the one thing is the community. When it comes to racing inside and outside the track, people love the sport, and jockeys are big stars, you know. People, kids go and follow to get an autograph, and same thing goes for the trainers. So it's the way racing should be. And that day, that was just incredible for me to walk back after winning my 6th one that day, and just watching the video. Of course, I actually, funny that you showed that, because I shared that with my sons not too long ago, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool," but they don't really get it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And as I say, it dawned on me that day to pull out the camera because I had never seen, you know, as I say, almost after every race there'll be some kids or some people kind of shaking hands with jocks going back. That's part of the fun of Saratoga. But I had never seen anybody line up like that. And they applauded the entire way back. It was just really special. And again, I think it shows how plugged in the Saratoga fans are, as they are on a daily basis. Talk about that as your experience as a jockey. I think coming out of the jockey's room and heading to the paddock, there are always kids out there for autographs and pulling in new fans. But after the race, walking through the clubhouse, just on a day-to-day basis, there's great interaction with the fans.
Absolutely, and that's something that is wonderful to see and experience firsthand, because you know that they are there enjoying the sport, they are there and they look up to the jockeys and really give them the credit that they deserve. And not only kids, but sometimes growing up, they really enjoy, and can I get my picture taken? And it's like they are getting their picture taken with Michael Jordan, you know. And but then, besides that, when you see near the paddock all the picnic tables, and it's a family event, it's not just about betting on the horses, it's about enjoying the sport, following the horses, and racing itself doesn't get any better as far as how evenly matched the races are, the quality of the racing. So this is really a perfect example of what racing should be, and I'm excited to be here. Even if I'm not riding, just being involved with racing is just so unique.
I agree. I'm a homer. I love the track, but I say all the time the racing fans are so savvy. A horse like Lady Eli, everyone's plugged into the story. She comes out on the track, there's applause, and she comes back, and they're just so plugged in. I'll ask you, because of how popular you were when you were riding, as you walk around town now, I'm guessing you still get recognized.
When I walk through town,
Saratoga.
Yes, and it's at one place. Of course, people ask me, when I was winning a lot of races, like if people will recognize me outside the track, and the truth is perhaps if I was a Belmont or Aqueduct, not too many times. But here in Saratoga, not only me, any rider or any horseman, people will recognize because they are truly horse racing fans. So it's great. They don't actually even ask you, like, what horse do you like? Typically, the question that you may get somewhere else. Here is like, how do you like Saratoga? And what's your favorite horse? It's just great to see people who are so passionate about the sport.
Give us a little background on how you got into the game. You mentioned you're from Venezuela. Did you ride there, and did you ride there for a long time?
I rode there, and it was a few years learning on my own before I was able to ride races. And I rode in a track that was not recognized. A track, basically the rails were pieces of wood that people would put, and I rode there for just a few months, like 7 months. And then from there, I went to the big track, La Rinconada in the capital, Caracas. So I rode there 1 year before coming to the U.S. in 1996.
And where did you show up? I saw you got in, the Delaware Wall of Fame. So you were based in Delaware for a while?
I was in Delaware, yes, from 98 for roughly like 10 years between Maryland and Delaware. And that's where I met my wife, and that's actually where I was given the opportunity to start riding better horses. People like Grand Motion gave me the opportunity to ride horses like Better Talk Now, and that, without a doubt, was something that accelerated the opportunity for me to come to New York. Whenever we decided to come, I was maybe more branded, people knew more about me, but it was in Delaware. So Delaware is a place where I have some of my greatest memories.
Yeah, so they put you on the Wall of Fame just recently, right?
Yes,
yeah,
a couple weeks ago, yes.
So congratulations there. Was that the first place you came when you came up from Venezuela? Where did you show up first?
No, my first place, it was in Hialeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I rode Hialeah, and then I stayed in the Circle Hialeah, Calder, and Gulfstream Park for a couple years. And then I came to Delaware in 1998, and I stayed in the East Coast, so I stayed in Delaware and Maryland for, again, 10, 12 years, and until I came to New York.
So when you were down there and you were riding for people like Grand Motion, did you make some trips up to Saratoga before you had actually moved to the New York colony?
Correct, yes. It was a very smooth transition because not only did I come frequently to New York, but also the last, I want to say 3 years, my agent and I decided to come to Aqueduct for the winter. So we established ourselves there, and whenever we made the decision to come year-round to New York full-time, by then people knew me, and we had a great relationship with most horsemen.
Very good. And as I say, a great career, 3-time Eclipse winner, Hall of Fame. You mentioned some horses for Graham. I won't make you pin down one, but maybe name 3 or 4 of your favorite horses that you rode during the career.
Yeah, so many of them. It goes back, I'll tell you from the beginning, I rode a horse actually that I won the Saranac here. I think that he still holds the track record for mine on 316. 5 Beta Dog for my good friend Danny Foster, and Bob Leonard was a trainer. He was a very, very talented horse, and we won the Virginia Derby and Colonial Downs and a couple other stakes. And then I was able to ride horses like Better Talk Now, who one of my favorite ones, and of course Howard the Grace, who won the Woodward here, Gio Ponti, too many really to mention just a few. And there is a horse that I had the opportunity to express this on interviews before, that is definitely one of my favorites. And of course he didn't get the recognition just because he was a sprinter, and that was Fabulous Strike.
Oh, sure.
Yes, Todd Beatty was a trainer. He did a wonderful job with him. And Fabulous Strike was a horse that did things that I never experienced before on a horseback. Just an amazing animal.
Had the crazy long streak for a while, too, the win streak.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And I know that he ran some very high numbers of those who follows, whether the racing form. But yes, and he was just a very, very fast horse.
Yeah, sprinters don't seem to get their just due a lot of times. Did you have a favorite, speaking of sprinting and long distance on the turf, did you have a favorite trip, going long on the turf or sprinting, something you preferred and maybe strategically you felt you were more suited to?
Not really. I try to adapt to the horse. And of course, I enjoy riding on the turf course, and I feel like things happen very fast, but at the same time, mistakes often can be corrected. And on the dirt, of course, you have to be a little more forward as far as with your decisions, a little more firm. But either way, you need a horse capable of winning, and the whole journey of understanding the horse and the connection is something that I miss very much. That's one of the things that I miss the most about riding, because the ability to listen to the horse or connecting with the horse is something that the last few years I rode, I feel like I was able to really perfect that. And it's so simple yet so different that most people don't really grasp a good understanding of how to really connect with a horse. And once that you do, and the horses are really able to do things on their own, it's so wonderful when you don't get in their way, and versus really trying to make the horse do something that they are not probably naturally intending to do. So
yeah, that's interesting. The experience of being on the horse, the more you do it, the more you get in tune with the horse. I'm curious also, and I ask jockeys a lot if I get them on here, what was your game plan coming into a race day, your strategy? Did you look at the racing form and kind of decide, okay, who else is going, and oh, I know these other jockeys? So did you have a game plan of how the race may play out, or because anything can happen coming out of the gate, was it more a play it by ear kind of a situation?
Yeah, great question, and you touched on two things that definitely apply to how I approach a race. Number one, I was big in studying, planning. From the night before the race, I will get the racing form, and I will just go over all the races and kind of try to get a feel of what the race may be developing like. I will be the first one usually going to the jockey's room and watching the replays of, often actually know the horses that I was riding if I rode them before, but more so the competition. And really just dissect the race in a way where I will be analyzing only the horses' running style, but equally important the jockeys, because most of us can be very predictable. And then despite having a plan, which is important, coming to the paddock and getting the instructions for the trainer and trying to maybe change it, giving to what they're giving you, or perhaps trying to see how you can adopt both of your thinking and what they think. At the end of the day, regardless of how clear the plan may be, that is secondary to being present with the horse and listening and just doing what is right for them. And it's something that I can tell you now that the first 10 years of my riding career, that went over my head. That was not what I was doing. It was very mechanical, just kind of going by what the racing form of the program or the trainer said, and sort of no listening or being connected with the horse. And when I was able to tap into that ability of just being present and being connected with the horse, it was a aha moment where really my game evolved, and it really simplified things, because the preparation was great, but then just listening to the horse, that was the most important thing.
Clearly it worked very well for you. And you remember the name of your first winner?
I sure do. In Venezuela, it was Lady Mercy.
At the unsanctioned track?
No, that was actually, I never won a race at that track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was in La Rinconada. And then when I came to the U.S., it was in Hialeah, Solo Moon Dance.
Oh, very good. And your Eclipse Awards, where do you put them?
They're home.
Got a trophy case?
Yes.
Oh, very good, because I'm sure it could be filled up very, very nice. And did they give you something from the Hall of Fame? Do you get something that you can take?
I have a huge plaque just for the one that
nice. There you go. All right, very good. Ramon, absolutely appreciate the visit, the reminiscing about the career. It's great to see you're doing well and have moved on from the racing game, but still enjoy being over here on the front side as a fan a little bit. And it's nice of us to tout the PDJF day that's coming up tomorrow. Karaoke Monday night across the street. Again, good luck going forward.
Thank you so much.
Ramon Dominguez, really enjoyed the conversation there. Again, Ramon will also be at the Hall of Fame induction on Friday. Part of the team introducing Javier Castellano along with John Velasquez, so that's coming up as well. All right, I'm going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America on a Friday morning. Enjoy the racing this afternoon here at the racetrack. Make some money. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for the Handicappers Report, 10 o'clock, Mark Casano and Down the Stretch. We'll see you then.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack, pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.